Could you imagine if after like Usain Bolt won the gold medal at the Olympics, he had to go
Just
do
started
an
like
idol performance?
dancing on stage. I simply am.
You are and you were.
Yeah. Mark Crombu Weebs, my name is Cole, his name is Mike, his name is Jay. We like anime, and this is episode 174 of AniPro. And on this week's episode, we are reviewing Some Girls Running. Some girls be running, and they're also horses.
There you go. They're not just girls. They're also horses. They're horse
They're
girls.
horse girls. Umamusume. Umamusume. I almost forgot the Uma
Pretty
part.
derby.
Pretty Derby. Umamusume Pretty Derby. Jay had to step in to correct me on
Yes.
Well, I had to say something.
He had to,
Specifically season 1, Jay. I don't know if you caught that part.
Yeah.
But we just watched season 1.
Just the first
season
13 episodes, including the bonus
first-
one that was also called episode 13.
Yeah, it was kind
it
of
was called
gorgeous.
episode 13 on Crunchyroll. So I was like, oh, now we got like a 13th episode. But then, like, once the episode started, it just said bonus episode.
It's an extra.
I looked it up. And it aired 1 week after the last episode. So
Yeah.
like, just call it episode 13.
Just call it episode 13.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about why some things are big in Japan, but maybe don't quite translate over here, and we'll kind of look at the difference. What's big over there, and see if that jives with what's big over here. Before we get into any of that, though, I just like to remind you all to subscribe and leave a like, all of that stuff. Leave us reviews. We love getting reviews. We like reading the reviews. So please send those in. Make me a happy boy.
Make Cole the happiest boy in the world.
And me
Make
too.
the
Like,
happiest.
frankly, when Cole's happy, I'm happy because he doesn't yell at me as much. So
Mhm.
that's kind of a good place for all of us to be, I think.
Yeah. Mike is scared of me. It's been
so scared.
confirmed. It's been confirmed earlier today.
Yeah.
This
He yelled at me.
is true. We have lore accurate confirmation of that.
Lore accurate.
Lore accurate confirmation. How are you guys doing, Mike? What's up?
Oh, hello.
What's new and exciting with the old Mikey and his green Packers shirt?
Green Packers shirt. What's exciting with me? Right when I get back from Japan, speaking of the Packers, I'm going to be back for like less than a week, and then I immediately get to hop in with some coworkers and drive down to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Ooh,
And we're going to the
nice.
NFL draft, baby.
Really?
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Nice.
When
I've
was
never...
that? When was that all planned out?
A couple months ago.
Oh,
Yeah. And then it was planned actually before I planned to go to Japan. And then the Japan trip happened. And then I was like, it was kind of like, well, do I still do the draft or whatever? But like, how often do you get to go to your favorite sports teams? Like they're hosting the draft for their sport in their hometown. And like get to enjoy all that. And then like with like coworkers that you enjoy hanging out with too. So it's going to be fun. I will be, super tired the week after that, I'm sure, because I'll be like basically just recovering from jet lag from the trip, and then instantly I get to go on this trip with people who can drink quite heavily. So I'm gonna have to keep pace, and that'll be interesting for sure.
well, I mean, you just adrenaline will keep you going, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, it's like one of these things where like I could. In another world, I would probably say, the Japan trip's that's probably enough trips for the month of April, like 2 weeks out of 4.
No.
But the thing is, like, I'm starting to realize that because I have a daughter now, and as she gets older and she grows so rapidly and matures so rapidly, it's like, I can see very soon I'm just not going to be able to do any of this. So like I got to get it out of the system now, because otherwise I'm basically stuck at home for the next 5 years at least.
Clock's ticking.
Yeah. No pressure though. Like not to
No
put any
pressure, not at
on
all.
you,
No
but like
pressure,
you
no.
you must immediately, because if you don't, you're doomed.
Yeah.
But no pressure.
Yeah, exactly. No
Yeah,
pressure. No pressure. But like that
Don't
was
get
actually
any and all lingering regrets, loose ends tied up.
Yeah. You have to.
Starting
you
to
don't
sound
want
more ominous by the second. I don't know.
You don't want any like loose plot points or anything like that. Tie up those loose threads.
No, I don't
you
like
want-
this. This is getting death flags all over the place. I don't want this.
No. It'll all be
No.
fine. It's just
Yeah.
like you soon.
Oh, no.
You won't be able to do anything.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I'm in like a massive death flag right now. I just had a baby. I'm going on a big trip that I've dreamed of for years, like basically my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm going to this big event for my favorite sports team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble, guys.
I mean, I didn't
the
want to
Grim
bring
Reaper
it
behind
up,
me
but
somewhere? Uh-oh.
no.
Don't bring up
trouble.
any
I
promises
won the
that
teeny
you
tiny
want to keep
trophy
after,
this year.
after all this.
Everything's coming up,
boy.
Mike. Everything's coming
Uh-oh.
up, Mike.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Because I've watched enough movies. I know what comes after all of your dreams have
Yeah.
been achieved.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's when
Your character arc's complete.
Yeah,
Yeah.
character arc's complete. We don't need you anymore. We move on to the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I smell the big like the opening of Lost. That's what I think.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I smell?
Hmm.
Like frayed wires burning.
What the Rock is cooking.
Metal and a faint smell of like cologne, but it's like kind of a stinky cologne, but in a good way. It's quite pungent and
Okay.
like a nice beard. I think I smell what's on Jay Guardian's mind.
Oh yeah.
I'm just burning wires, putting on weird cologne, and what was the other thing you were smelling?
I don't remember.
Your
I just-
beard.
Sometimes do you ever
Oh,
just
yeah, my
talk
beard.
and like not
Yeah,
know
that's
what
all
the hell
that's
you're
on my
saying?
mind.
All the time,
Mike
Mike.
got it.
Yeah.
No. What is on my mind? I picked up Assassin's Creed Shadows. Couple days ago.
Yes. Have you started it yet?
I
Jay?
have been able to because I've been
Oh my god.
doing
Oh my
podcast
God.
stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh.
true.
Yeah.
God,
By the
yeah.
time this comes out, I'll have probably played it. But
I would hope so.
The nice thing for you, Jay, is because of this
Mhm.
marathon we're doing, you're gonna have like a really,
So
really
much free
good,
time.
so much free time. You're gonna have such a good
Yeah.
stretch of just like I have nothing to do other
Yeah.
than whatever the hell I want.
and
Yeah.
recording days, I have booked off from work because like I tell them
hmm
I'm recording that day.
Yeah.
So those Fridays, I'm just gonna be at home playing whatever, whether it be Assassin's Creed or it be something else. I'll have the free time, and I'm excited for that.
It's like a little cheat day for you. I like that. I like
Mhm.
How did you finish Spider-Man 2, by the way?
I haven't. No,
Okay, so you still got that to play.
I still got that to play.
Can I suggest you play that one first because that game's only like maybe 20 hours, and then
Yeah,
like Assassin's Creed's gonna take a lot longer, I would think.
I started Spider-Man. The main reason why I want to start Assassin's Creed is like, I don't know, I just want to get lost in a feudal Japan world. Like
Mhm.
Ghost of Tsushima was back when that
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah.
I've also
Um,
heard it's like nigh unplayable right now because it's so buggy. I don't know if that's
Really? I've heard
I've heard
like,
it
actually
I've heard it has like
surprisingly
almost no
good things.
bugs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we're hearing from very different sources as per always.
Well, I just mean the reviews. Like I think it was
Mm.
sitting over like 84-ish or something like that on Metacritic, which
Oh,
It was
wow.
like an
was
82
surprising.
when the game first came out.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
surprising to me because I thought based on its pre-release,
Yeah.
it was going to be not well received. I'm still on the fence about getting it. If I see it
Mhm.
on sale, like it's
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
games where it's like if I could get this for like $30, 30 or 40
Or
bucks.
or like if you have a friend who like already beat it and like could lend it to you.
I mean that would be
also helps.
ideal.
Yeah.
That would be ideal. Yeah.
Just one more thing I want to touch on real
Mhm.
quickly before we move on from what's on my mind.
Yeah.
So big disclosure, we're recording these in bulk still. So we're in the bulk season of recording, and Anime Japan has been this weekend.
Yeah.
And ton of trailers came out and a ton of new things, and they released a new trailer for Moonrise, which, if you listen to our seasonal preview, was my number one draft.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, that trailer looks really good.
I mean, everything about that show looks promising. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm in. I'm sold. Stop, Jay.
yeah.
You've sold it. I'm in.
Yeah. That's
If you
enough.
tell me any more, you know me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna not watch it because
Yeah, no,
it's
I'm not
getting too hyped.
gonna say anything about it. Just like I saw the trailer and I really liked it. So
If you download the trailer one more time and send it to us on a text message at 2 a.m. again, We will absolutely not watch this show.
That was for the dub.
That was for the dub, yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it? Oh, I watched it with sound off. So
I watched it with sound
It's
on,
quite-
and
I
then
watched
I
it quite
heard
early.
as soon as I heard English, off.
Because
Get that
they
out.
released a trailer for the sub, and I found a trailer for the dub, and I was like, oh, Mike would like to hear this. So
so your primary audience wasn't aware of the reason he was the primary audience. So that's my bad.
In your defense, Mike, you were watching Horse Girls running. So
I was.
He was.
And that was
He was.
delightful.
incidentally has nothing to
Yeah.
do with our review. He was just
Yeah.
just watching YouTube clips
Yeah.
Mhm.
of horse
Just
girls
like in
running.
real life, they were running down a street.
Yeah, like
Yep.
those weird I shouldn't say weird. Those people who like run on all fours. You ever
Yeah.
watch those? Have you ever watched
Yeah.
those? Those are like unsettling.
Yeah, it is. It is like it's just. I think horror movies have conditioned you to be like, that's not what we're supposed to do. That's
Yeah.
creepy.
That's feral.
But like, I did see this one dude who like he walked on all fours like for half hour a day for like
Mhm.
months, and his arms got he got so ripped from it. Like he got so jacked, it was ridiculous. I was like, that's actually kind of crazy. It's only half hour a day,
Sure. Yeah, but
he's
at
like-
what cost? At what
right?
cost?
That's
Yeah.
fair. That is a fair point.
When you guys were kids, did you ever like run up the stairs on all fours?
Oh,
when we were
100%.
kids.
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Oh,
I'm a
you still
grown.
do that?
I did that this week actually. Like,
Did you?
yeah. I don't know why. I just felt feral. I just
Mm.
felt like I needed to let the
Mhm.
dog out. You know?
The dogs were barking. I had to let them out, baby.
Speaking of feral things, Cole, what's on your mind?
Yes, I am a feral animal. What's on my mind? It's tough because like I'm in a Zelda phase right now, so it's all Zelda, all Zelda. Let's
Mhm.
talk about the Zelda timeline, Jay.
Oh,
Again?
no.
No.
This is like, it's funny because like Cole getting these things and it's like, oh, okay, what's Cole going to talk about for the next month on the podcast?
Well, it doesn't help that we are recording 3 episodes back to back
Yeah.
to back.
I know. Yeah.
No, I'm still doing my Twilight Princess playthrough. I'm finally further than I ever was. I beat the Fire Temple boss, which that's the
How was it?
Goron.
Yeah.
Oh, it was way easier than I thought it would be. Shoot
Yeah?
its head, pull the chain, just start wailing on his head. Do that 3 times. and
Great
you're
strategy.
Don't
yeah.
you need
Always
the
wail
iron
on the head
boots?
when you can.
done. Yeah, you need the iron boots. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the bow.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the sumo match that you had to do for the iron boots?
Fine. See, here's the problem though, because I had to do it 3 times. First
Mhm.
time, I'm like, okay, well, I think the sumo match you didn't need the iron boots on, but then you get thrown out. I'm like, okay, no problem. I know I need the
Mhm.
iron boots now. So I hop in. I'm like, okay, trigger, let's go. And then I'm ready, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put the iron boots on as soon as like the match starts. Match starts, I get thrown out before. So I've got to put the iron boots on before the match starts, and
Mhm.
then it's fine. That guy was a pushover. Old man Goron.
Yeah.
More like old man moron.
Got him.
Got him. Yeah, no, it was easy.
The other thing about Twilight Princess that like I know some people are a little iffy on is Wolf Link.
Mhm. I don't mind
Uh,
Wolf Link. It's fine. It's not a
wrong
huge
with Wolf
aspect of
Link?
the game.
I don't know, just like I've heard people like just kind of prefer when he's just Link swinging
Well,
his
I-
sword around.
I for sure prefer when he's Link just swinging a sword around. But like the Wolf Link, you just have to find those bugs and then you're
Yeah.
good to go. What I will say, my biggest critique, and this is more like early 3D gaming in general, I hate platforming on these older games.
Yeah.
Because
where
the camera
controls
is
aren't-
not
Yeah.
made for like, yes, this game has the added benefit of having the C stick and being able to
Mhm.
control the camera
Mhm.
that way, but
Yep.
it doesn't work. They didn't have it figured out even then.
Yeah.
When you want to move the camera, if you want to look left in a game, which way do you move the camera?
Right?
Right?
Yeah, it's inverted.
Yeah.
In this game, it's inverted, but not in like a regular game. This is backwards, is what I'm saying.
Usually there's a setting you can change for that.
Yeah.
No, not on the
Even
N64.
back then.
Or not on the
No.
GameCube. No, I looked. Of course I
Oh,
looked.
okay.
That was the first thing I did. To look up, you have to go into first person view to look up. Pushing the stick forward moves the camera into first-person view, pulling the stick backwards, pulls the camera back.
Oh, that's okay.
So,
That's
like,
odd.
To
That
a
is odd.
higher, yeah.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
didn't have it, like, it wasn't modernized. But because it wasn't modernized, like, the game can be played without even touching the C-stick. In the end,
Yeah.
I'm just kind of playing it like I would something like Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time. Like, just hit the Z or the left
Hit the
trigger.
lock-on button. Yeah.
Yeah, recenter the camera.
Yeah.
But I
Lock-on
fell
buttons are
into-
clutch. They really are.
Yeah, I fell into the fire so many times trying to platform.
That's just a
like,
skill issue.
I know it is, but like that stuff doesn't happen on like Breath of the Wild.
If it makes you feel any better though, Cole,
Mhm.
the C-stick camera movement is exclusive to the GameCube version. On the Wii version, you just have to rely on recentering the camera all the time.
No, I know. Like, it is what it is, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm still enjoying the game. Beating that
Yeah.
boss was satisfying. And now I think I'm off to the Water Temple, I think is the next one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss the days in Zelda when it was a lot more story driven. Now they're all
Yeah.
like just open world.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it last week. It's like an
Yeah.
homage to the original Zelda.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
Yeah,
new
we'll
ones
see.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
I agree with Jay. I kind of miss like the more linear Zeldas too. Just because I'm a linear
Mm-hmm.
boy, I like things linear. But
I do like
Open-
the open world though. Like, it is
it
nice.
depends what
Yeah.
kind of gamer you are. It depends what kind of gamer
I
you
don't
are,
know.
right?
There's plus and minuses. I will say though, like, slowly as I'm playing this game more and more, I don't know, I'm kind of vibing with this more than even like Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I really like this story. I like
That's a good
I
story.
like the Zelda gameplay is just always tight too. Like, it's just
Mhm.
good controls and everything other than the camera.
There's a reason why when you ask a gamer what their favorite game is, there's a good chance it's a Zelda game.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what Zelda's big here, right? It's a big
Mhm.
big property.
big everywhere.
here. It's big everywhere. It's big in Japan as well. That's where it's from. It's actually Japanese. Did you guys know that?
I did.
Whoa.
I did know that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
wild.
it was made originally in Japan for the Famicom. And then came over here on the NES. What we do want to talk about, though, is things that are big in Japan, but maybe not as big here. Maybe why? Maybe look at lists and compare if things are big in Japan, if they're also big here.
Mhm.
We've got rankings for the last couple seasons of shows. So like we've got from fall 2024 and mid rankings for this current season. Do we want to talk about these? Do you guys want to talk about them?
Yeah, I included those more for like your background knowledge, just so you could look at the lists and be like, oh, okay, like it's kind of the only way I could find that had like an actual measurable way to see what is more popular in Japan versus the West. So I by comparing this list to the AniList popularity rankings, you can kind of get a taste of like what does the Western world think, or what is insular to just Japan think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Mhm.
there's some things that are surprising and some things that are not, I would say, with these lists, and I think it's interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, what are you surprised about on these lists, Mike?
What am I surprised about? Would be
What do you see and you're like, ooh, I am surprised.
Whoa,
Very.
that's not something that's popular here.
Mhm.
Yeah, very, very interesting way of phrasing that, Cole.
Mhm.
The one that kind of stood out to me is actually not on these lists here. It's on the one I sent earlier. But the number 2 most popular show, and based on the first episode rankings, because they take these rankings either at the mid to late seasons. Like they took these fall ones at the end of November, so that's like
Right.
2/3 the way through, I'd say.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And at the beginning of the winter ones, that in the January poll, our good old friend Studio Gohans had the number 2 spot for the
Yeah.
most popular
Yeah.
anime, which like kind of validated something I've kind of thought for a while. Is like I feel like in Japan they like Gohans. I feel like that's a thing. Like, and then in the West it's just like this is just too much for us.
This is too much. Maybe. So like what do we think makes something like what makes something big over there that doesn't translate over here? Because I mean, like, of course, on the list here, the number one show from fall is Dawn to Dawn, which
Universal.
is universal. We all like Dawn to Dawn, but like, why don't we all like the number 8 show, New Prince of Tennis, which was a show that I will say flew under the radar. I would say,
which is funny because it's a legacy Shonen Jump series, which it's no longer in Shonen Jump now. Before we get flamed for it was moved into another. I know.
Trust me, Jay knows these things. If it's Shonen Jump, Jay knows.
Jay, I'm glad that you addressed that because, oh man, we were definitely going to get so many comments about it.
You could hear the keyboards typing of everyone saying, actually, it's in a different magazine now.
It's in a different magazine, you stupid idiot.
But regardless,
Backspacers.
It's still something that was in Shonen Jump, and
but again, like what makes something like New Prince of Tennis or like a legacy title like Doraemon? Like Doraemon is huge in Japan, right?
Massive. Yeah.
Not here. What
I think what Japan cares more about is if something is toyetic.
What does that mean?
Meaning like something that can sell more merchandise and like has that wherewithal to be able to like make a ton of different figures that people want to buy up, or like a ton of different pillows and stickers and things like that. Whereas like here we just really care more about the show.
Definitely a factor, I think.
That definitely is a factor in stuff like idol anime, which is huge over there, but not here.
Like I'm looking at the number 3 most popular show for fall was Idolmaster Shiny Colors second season. And like for that to be the number 3 most popular show, and like, do you guys know a single person other than Zero's producer son that's even said the word Idolmaster before?
Right? Not really, no.
Yeah.
And then for like things like SAO kind of being like quite low on the list. I don't know. It's just funny, like how different, like cultural, like what is it about the Japanese culture that people want like idols, where over here we're just like we just want like shonen action. I think is kind of the. What do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I get what you mean. I think there's a lot of it that has to do with the fact that like, the shonen action that we get is very different from like what we would normally see on TV. So people sought that out here. Whereas like, that might be a bit more normal in Japan, maybe. Maybe. Obviously like with stuff like Dawn to Dawn and that, like it's still a big property, but like Dawn to Dawn's also like very, very unique in what it is, even in like the anime and manga sphere.
It is certainly an albatross, I would say.
And it doesn't seem like I know the answer people always give is like, oh, idol anime is Japan. Like Japan will go crazy for any idol anime. But like when you look at the winter ones, the Bang Dream one of Mujika or whatever is not on that list either. Right?
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just, oh, I see idol, I go brr. It's there's kind of like, they're not as simple as that. I don't know. And I do like Jay's take that like toys, I feel like the ability to support something seems to be a running theme here. Like they do. When I look at this list, I see a lot of like, you can root for this protagonist in like some kind of like, they seem to like a challenge, I guess. Or like they like sports in a way, I guess is what I'd say.
Yeah, maybe.
Sports anime definitely seems more popular over there.
Yeah, sports anime. I'm looking at like the current season big shows, and like number 5 is that Red Ranger one, which like I know some people are watching over here. I guess it's nostalgia as well. Like Sentai shows are big in Japan. Like we've got Power Rangers, really big
in Japan.
We've got Power Rangers here, but nothing.
Yeah, like you've got Sentai and Isekai, which like are kind of two of the biggest things. Like you look at the two lists here. ReZero's number 2, Isekai. Number 1 for winter, From Bureaucrat to Villainess, which is also an Isekai.
Yeah. The ReZero one, like, I think that's pretty universal. The bureaucrat to villainess, like, to be number one, that's
kind of crazy.
I've also heard
honestly,
it's pretty good, to be fair.
It's sitting at 70 mids to low 70s on AniList and Mal, so it must be pretty good. I'd say it is definitely, like, when I saw it at number one on that list, I was like, whoa, that's definitely an upset.
Yeah,
being
it's the
good
number
is
35th most popular on AniList.
Thank you. I was trying to figure out.
So what's the secret sauce on that one? I would say, like, what why do we think that's so popular, but we don't really care about it?
It's honestly, like, the boring answer is just, like, I think it just kind of wins the lottery where it's airing.
Yeah.
That could be it. Yeah.
Like, it's just lucky.
At the same time, like, the big show that we watch, that we as people in the West watched, Soul Leveling, nowhere near on this list.
Not even on this.
Yeah, not even on the list. That's true, actually. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, now that you bring that up. I guess maybe I don't want to advertising, I would say. Like, Crunchyroll pushes Solo Leveling over here. And over there it's just we have to factor in where these shows are airing, what channels these shows are on,
what time, how
accessible they're on. Whereas over here and over there as well now with the advent of streaming services. But here we don't watch them on TV. We just exclusively have streaming services. So it's just what gets advertised by the streaming services. And I bet you a factor over here is like what comes first alphabetically, if you sort by alphabetically.
It'd be tough to sort through Crunchyroll alphabetically, for example, but I do think you're onto something. Like, when I look at AniList, like, the three most popular shows are Solo Leveling, Sakamoto Days, and Apothecary Diaries. And I think that makes sense because those are probably the three shows that got pushed the hardest and are also the most widely accessible this season, I would say. Yeah. So Apothecary Diaries and Solo Leveling were pushed hard by Crunchyroll. They all have dubs available too. And like Sakamoto Days was Netflix, and everybody has Netflix.
Yeah. One that kind of stands out here, where Medalist is number 2 on the list in Japan. And where is Medalist in terms of popularity in the West?
I'm looking at we're
for some
number
reason my list isn't loading.
And mine doesn't give me the popularity. I'll have to manually calculate 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 27. Yeah, which is again, that's I tack
huge.
That
up specifically to availability.
Yeah,
well, it's on Disney Plus, Hulu,
and they never advertise it.
Yeah. Whereas over there, I don't know where Medalist would be airing, but I would assume on, like, a bigger network, right? It comes out on Saturday or Friday over there. Like, people are off work, they're ready to sit down and watch their cartoon about the smiley girl skating.
Yeah. Another one that stands out to me too is 2.5D Seduction. That was from last season, and that's number 7 in Japan for fall. That seems like a kind of a standout to me, because, like, that show would never have any chance of being the number 7th most popular show of the season over here, right? Because it's just too the etchiness of it is just too much, I think, for Western audiences. Whereas maybe in Japan they don't. That's not something they think about as much. I don't know, or it's not.
Well, I mean, etchy's also, like, taken very differently in Japan. Like, they don't really care as much.
It's less shameful for sure, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with, like, over here. Like, if I told a guy, well, for example, like, we're reviewing a show about horse racing girls, and right, and Umamusume is one of the biggest ones that people point to, saying, like, this show is huge over there, we don't watch it over here. And I think you can chalk that one specifically, and this is probably the truth with idol anime in general, is, like, I think as Western anime fans, we all have that bully in the back of our mind yelling at you, for, like, saying you're such a weirdo for watching the anime about horse girls, Like, I think that's a factor. It's like, what do you mean you're watching a show about cute girls singing? What do you mean?
Yeah,
like,
cartoons.
Yeah, I think that is probably a huge thing that drives us down. What do you mean you're watching a show about a girl who likes to dress up in sexy cosplays? You know, like that I think definitely affects the Western viewer a lot more than the Western audience or the Japanese audience.
The shame factor. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean that is certainly a factor. Less so now, but certainly still kind of in the back of my mind.
Yeah, to push back a little bit though on the dress up one, my Dress Up Darling was one of the bigger shows of the season that it aired in, and it did have like a girl dressing in scantily clad cosplays. So like,
it's a combination of things though too, right?
Yeah.
Like my Dress Up Darling was pushed by Crunchyroll. 2.5 Dimensional Seduction was another show on High Dive, right?
Yeah.
And I'd say the tone of Dress Up Darling is very different from what I've seen from 2.5D as well. Just from what as an outsider looking in.
Even there, it's the reputation it has, right? I wouldn't, as somebody who's watched both, and I think Jay has taken in both, like I wouldn't say that I would say its reputation is probably overblown, but that's a tough thing to get over, right?
Right.
Reputation now on this side of it being like, oh, this is just like a pure ecchi.
Right.
We're going to see boobies and butts, but really no more than something that's very popular like My Dress Up Darling.
I wonder if part of that too is just purely like the name of it. Because like when you see, I watch this animated show with a name that has seduction in the name. Yeah. Has a scantily clad girl in the front. Like that, the tin, right, looks a little more intimidating to a Western audience, I think, than whatever. I don't know what seduction is in Japanese, but maybe it's like a less offensive term. I don't know the word I'd use there. Less upfront, I guess. Less abrasive.
Less weight to the term.
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
But I think Jay was onto something with the isekai too. Like the big good shows definitely seem to be like universal. Like I see Shangri-La Frontier on here. I see Apothecary Diaries. Guild Receptionist, 100 Girlfriends. Like Shangri-La's on both these lists actually for season 2.
Yeah, I think definitely nowadays, like the lists are starting to become more in line. I would say.
Yeah, the Western audience is huge now.
Even looking like from now, like even from winter to fall last year, like all of the shows that are on the winter list are pretty. Or I'm sorry, on the winter list are pretty still popular here. The only exception there would be like the Red Ranger one, and even that, like I've heard people talk about.
Yeah.
The fall one though is like, the tennis one is the one that really stands out to me. Like I haven't even heard of that show.
But I think even then, like it does have that like cute boys playing tennis thing that people eat up.
That's a good point. Yeah, we can't forget the Fujoshi over there that love the boy love action, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I just think like things are starting to become more aligned where like I remember even looking back like a few years ago where there'd be like some show that honest to God no one's ever heard of. But it's the most popular show of the year in Japan. Thinking back to Doraemon, thinking back to even like Case Closed, whatever it's actually called.
Detective Conan.
Detective Conan. People enjoy it here for sure, but it's like the biggest thing in the world over there. Gintama as well. Their niche here, huge there, right?
The other thing I see here that I think Japanese people probably value a lot higher than us and does more better over there is Japaneseness. How Japanese is this show? And I think that's probably what kills solo leveling for a lot of this. Because like when you look, Rurouni Kenshin, number 10 show, Shangri-La Frontier, very Japanese, like the way the MMO and the gaming is all set up. The 2.5D seduction cosplay community is very Japanese, right? Bleach is obviously big shonen, right? Even Dandadan's very Japanese because it all deals with yokai and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think when you look at these lists, I think like level of Japaneseness definitely it adds to the relatability, I would imagine, which also boosts their rankings.
Yeah. Meta wise and like IRL wise as well. Like solo leveling is not written by Japanese people, right? It's a Korean property.
I I think in Japan though, soul leveling was altered to take place in Japan, and like a lot of the story was changed.
Yeah.
But
Maybe,
I
but
think that
people
that's
still
more
know
because
who writes it.
Japan is kind of villainized in soul leveling, and they didn't want it to be like outright like Japan sucks.
I think historically
So-
those two countries and probably didn't get along too well.
Well,
based
they
on
did
my
not,
little
no.
limited
Yeah.
knowledge here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, those grievances run deep for sure.
They do.
And
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge factor specifically with solo leveling, or a lot of like the like Tower of God. I wonder how Tower of God did in Japan. I wonder how what was that other one about the high school people fighting?
God of High School.
God of High School. Yeah.
God of High School. Yeah. I don't know how that did in Japan, but they get pushed here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that God of High School did very well here either,
But like, I think that if the show itself is very good as well, like this is what I think pushes back against the Tower of Gods and the God of High School, for example. If the show itself is super good, I think it does still stand out. Like I'm looking at specifically at Apothecary Diaries. To me, that reads as a very like Chinese coded show, I would say. Right?
Oh, definitely.
I was
and
gonna
like
bring
those
that
two
up,
countries
actually.
haven't got along historically either.
Yeah.
But that's still very popular, right?
Right. What I'm saying is who makes it, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Like
I
Apothecary
see what you're
Diaries
saying.
is still written by Japanese mangaka.
Mhm.
Whereas like I don't know like that I think that is a factor. There's always going to be exceptions, of course,
Yeah.
but like the elephant in the room for the winter list is whatever we were talking about. Solo leveling is not on this list,
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
but
The
it's
other one I
the
would
number
point out
one
is-
most popular show according to AniList right now.
Yeah. And then
Huge.
for fall, probably the elephant in the room is Blue Lock. No Blue Lock on that list.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy. And no Dragon Ball too. Which I
Yeah.
feel is very odd actually.
Yeah. Again, though,
On either of these.
Dragon Ball's huge here, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
Like
not even-
I think the biggest place, or like it's most popular surprisingly in like Brazil and
Yeah, Brazil.
Latin America, yeah.
Latin
Yeah.
America loves Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to factor that in when we talk about the West. It's huge in non-English speaking Western
Mhm.
countries as well. Like it's
Yeah.
it
'Cause I feel
is
like the
a
West is
cultural
often used as
touchstone.
like a euphemism for America, basically.
the United
right?
States. Yeah.
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 But like I think it really is Europe, America, the Americas, I guess I should say. And
Yeah.
just like that's probably where most of the people are watching anime that are not in Japan or not
Yeah.
in Asia, I guess.
Well, that's where most of the people are. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If we're not factoring in like China or India or anything like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's when we look at these popularity lists, it's not just a single country. So of course, each
Mhm.
country is going to be different too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. For sure.
I'd be curious. That might be something to crack open. Like, what are different countries' number one shows?
Oh, that'd be a good
you know?
that'd be a good first half too, actually.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
good to
Yeah.
go.
I
I also just realized that like it's funny because I consider Australia part of the West, but it's like technically probably the same latitude or longitude as Japan.
it's
Like directly
yeah.
below it.
I
But, like,
I
that's
think the
'cause
West
it's the
is more
culture.
of like an
It's a cultural
ideology
thing.
than a
it's a
than-
cultural
yeah.
thing. Yeah. I mean, yes, Australia is also, Commonwealth. We're
Yeah.
all
There are-
cut from the
There are
same cloth.
siblings as
Yeah, there are
Canadians.
There are
Yeah,
siblings. They also I don't know, Australians are like Canadians. I love
Mhm.
Australians. Yeah.
No one who's listening to the podcast is going to get this, but Australians are very similar to like Newfies in my experience. People from Newfoundland and like the Maritimes in Canada, they kind of
Mhm.
like they have a very similar vibe. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. They're
we,
just
we are,
fun.
we're similar cultures. Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of fun. Why are things more popular in Japan? Because they are.
because they are, and
because they
three-
are.
three bozos on a podcast sitting in the middle of an Arctic tundra on the other side of the world from Japan probably aren't going to get that right either. So
Yeah.
comment what you think the actual answer is and what we got wrong, because I'm sure we got so much wrong.
we thought we could figure this out today. Turns
No.
out turns out we can't.
No.
I've got a quick mailbag question though. Do you guys want to?
Okay.
Do you want to dive into this one?
Let's
I'd
do
love a
it.
quick dive. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
It's time for the mailbag.
Yeah, it's mailbag time. If you got a mailbag question, you can send it to us over at our website, AniProPod.com/mailbag, or on our Discord. This one comes from our Discord. It's from old friend of the pod, Super Mexi. He wants to know, what is the coolest piece of wall decor in your home, Jay?
I have a signed poster of The Beginning After the End, signed by Tonal, the author.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. Too bad you'll have to destroy it after the anime airs.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
Or
burn
frame
it.
it. Or frame it. 'cause
Or
the
frame
review's
it.
so
We
good.
don't know.
Yeah.
The
We
show's
don't
not
know
out yet.
Could go either
Yeah.
way. Could go either
Yeah.
way. That is true. What about you?
I would
Mike?
temper your expectations, though, I think, is my my impression from what I've seen so far. But I want to be positive.
In the first
Yeah.
minute I've seen of the show, my expectations are more than tempered.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, poor Jay. Mike, what about you? What's your...
Arthur will get his justice at some point. Coolest piece of wall decor in my room. It's funny, but I have
in your
I
home?
don't know if this is cool, but like I have stuff behind me too that I like. Like I like this one piece.
Yeah,
one. I
but
like
we
the
want to
Spirit
talk about
Away
cool
one.
stuff, not like that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, well, shut up. There's a local artist actually to us chasing artwork that does a lot of really good artwork of like Gundam and stuff like that. I really like all
Yeah.
the pieces I've got from them. But probably the thing I like, it's funny, but the thing that I see often that makes me like smile is I just have a random like base set Charizard that I had an extra one of that I had put into a picture frame, and it's just
Yes.
like in a random spot in my house on the wall, and I don't know why it makes me laugh when I see it because it's just like such a stupid thing to have in a little picture frame. There's like all these
It is
pictures
funny,
of my
yeah.
family, and then there's this base set Charizard.
Yeah, Mike's got like down his hall, he's got a bunch of different pictures and stuff. Very nice. And then, yeah, just a Pokemon card.
Just a Pokemon card.
I mean,
And not
he's
even
one of
like-
the family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not
yeah.
even like, sure, it's a Charizard, but like,
Yeah.
it's not like anything special. It's just a Charizard card, you know?
Yeah, it's probably an expensive card, but it's
I
not.
mean,
it's not graded or anything
no,
like that.
no.
Yeah.
But like base set Charizard is like the card to look for.
Yes,
fair.
but it's not like a shadowless or
No.
anything like that. It's just
I'm not.
it's just the basic base set Charizard.
It's so basic. I'm just so incredibly basic, and it just makes me smile being so basic. But what's your coolest piece, Mr. Cole?
you know, I like look around and I'm like, oh, what like anime stuff? Because I've got pieces from Chasing Artwork as well. He's done some like Evangelion stuff too.
Yeah.
I've
the style
got
of
I've got the vinyl of the Evangelion like soundtrack on the pink vinyl. I have that framed and hanging on my wall. But I've got to go with it's something that was given to me by my grandmother. Actually, it's like an African mask that I have hanging on my wall. I'll grab it for the second half just so I can show you guys. It's very unique. And when I was a kid, she would have it hanging on her wall, and I always thought like, oh, I want that mask, and I got it. She just gave it to me
Nice.
randomly one day. My
Nice.
grandma's still with us. Like, there's no reason she
Just like sat you down one day and she like
She's
just
just
like,
like, "Here."
Cole, I have something to give you.
She
No, I like
probably
that move,
remembered.
though.
Yeah,
I like
she
that move,
probably
'cause I'm-
remembered when I was little that
It's
I
a
liked
very
it.
old family heirloom that I would like to pass down.
Yeah.
Now that you're ready.
Yeah. Be careful with it though. It is haunted.
It is haunted. Yeah.
It's cursed. It's
like that-
Jim Carrey's The Mask.
It's kind of gives that vibe. It is a
Has that
cool.
vibe.
It is a cool mask. You guys have seen it. Mike,
I think
you've
I've seen it. I feel
I
like
think
I can
I've seen it.
picture it.
Yeah.
It's like
I'll
wooden, right?
grab it for the second half just to
Yeah.
show you guys. But
I also just remembered that picture. It was like a painting that your brother Cody took home that had like the bits of yarn and it looked like intestines falling out of the painting. That painting
Yes.
scared me. I'm glad you
there
guys
was
no
two
longer
paintings.
have that.
There was two paintings. No, we still have it. It's in our shed though. Probably
That's where it
destroyed.
belongs.
The
Molded.
problem is like those are actually like well done works of art. They're supposed to
I believe
represent like brain cells or something, but they're very like visceral.
Yeah.
They're cool, but disturbing in a weird way.
Like it's hard to be in the room with it and relax is what I'd say. Because you kind of like you see it and it makes you uncomfortable, which is like
Yeah.
it's a powerful piece of art because we're talking about it. And it sticks in my mind. I can picture it perfectly clear as day in my head,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't like it. I don't
Yeah,
like it.
maybe
It scares
maybe
me.
once the snow starts melting, I'll go out and I'll take pictures for the Discord so that
Yeah.
people understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They're interesting. They're interesting works of art for sure. Yeah. No, my African mask I've got to go with.
Nice.
Not any of my anime stuff. Close second though for my Bocchi the Rock wall print that I have right in front of me.
Nice.
Yeah. But we've got a show to review though.
We do.
I finished it. Did you guys finish it?
I did.
We'll find out in the second half.
We'll find out in the second half. Let us know if you've got any cool pieces of art, and let us know why you think things work in Japan that don't necessarily work over here in quote the West. But let's go for a quick little.
Right.
Hey YouTube viewer, I don't mean to interrupt you during a well-deserved break, but can you do me a real quick favor? You see that little button there? The one that looks like a thumbs up? Can you just click that? Just real quick. Yeah, great, thanks. Oh, and while you're down there, can you just hit subscribe? Yeah, like that, thanks. Oh, what's that? You're not on YouTube, but instead listening to the podcast on... And you want to join in on the fun? Well, if you want, why don't you leave a 5-star review? No matter how you're watching or listening, providing feedback to us helps AniPro grow so that more and more people can listen to us and our perfectly normal and not strange at all takes. And seeing as you're being so cool, why don't I let you in on a little secret? AniPro has a Discord server where you can talk to the hosts and other listeners about anime and other random topics about, like, I don't know, mayo on hot dogs and stuff. Anyway, thank you so much. What's that? You want to do even more? Oh my goodness, thank you. Well, AniPro has a Patreon where for a small donation you can get access to archived episodes and ad-free episodes. You can get episodes early and even get a monthly bonus episode. I think, yeah, that's it. Listen, I really appreciate you listening to this. I will now reward you with the second half of this episode.
The machines will take over. Welcome back to AniPro.
Hi there.
I'm one of your
Hi.
hosts.
Get hyped.
Mike. Yeah. Get excited.
Let's
'Cause
go!
We're talking sweet horses racing thunderously through the fields, and they're also girls.
They
what
are.
What a concept. Japanese horse racing girls who are also horses and racing each other. I don't know where I'm going with this, but let's just get right into it. You know what? We're doing a marathon week of episodes here. Let's just get right. Let's stop beating around the bush. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. I can hear you, listener. You're like, you guys beat around the bush way too much.
Yeah.
You take too long to get into things. Just start talking about the show. Stop the intro and get into what you're supposed to talk about, right?
No, Mike, I understand that, like, the listener, they hear us talking and they think, I'm here to listen to a review about these horse girls. By the way, did you know that Umamusume means horse girl? Did you know that?
Whoa.
Yeah, no, I legit just learned this.
I revealed that to Cole right before you came back, Jay. I was like, yeah, Uma is horse and Musume is like young girl. So it's like literally young horse girl is the name of this. I find that so funny about Japanese that like for example, Pokemon names are always like this, where it's like Charizard is such a cool name in the West. And then like when you read the Japanese name, it's something like just Fire Lizard. It's like, that's less fun.
Yeah, it's just lizard. Yeah, this is lizard. Yeah, no, they're very
doesn't have the same hit, does it?
Very literal, very literal. But no, sorry, I got caught off track, and I know we do that all the time.
It's kind of what we do. It's what we
say. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna start talking about the review. We're gonna start the review of Umamusume. But
So how do these reviews work?
how do they work?
Well, let me tell you how these work, because this is my show. I picked this one. I force you guys to watch this horse racing
You did.
anime.
You forced us against our will.
Yes, against your will to watch this show. Basically how we do this, don't worry, there's not really any spoilers we're not going to talk about, but we'll start off by just kind of introducing the show, what it's all about. we'll like kind of say some things that it kind of reminded us about, like comparisons or recommendations based on what we saw here. And then we're going to get into our patented AniPro quote unquote thoughts that we all have. We all message them our thoughts as we're watching the episode, and we kind of compile them into like a good list of like, what are like, instead of just having like a dry formula for the review, let's talk about things that actually are interesting to us about this specific show. And it's kind of our secret sauce for these episodes. And then at the end, we give our ratings, and the ratings are given on a scale of certified being the highest, tickled Jimmy's next, considerate is kind of like in the middle, would have dropped it, speaks for itself, and why? Why did you make me do this? And this would be a funny one for someone to drop a why, just purely based on like the stigma of watching a show about idle horse girls.
I will say at work this week, I was saying to one of my coworkers, like, oh, we're reviewing this show. It's about horse girls. And they're like, excuse me?
This one is like, imagine explaining to your grandma or grandpa what you're watching. As they're like, they look over your shoulder. Oh, what are you watching? Oh, it's a show. You know what? I'll tell you what Umamusume is about. This is a great little segue.
Tell me like I'm your grandma. Oh,
yeah.
Michael.
Well, grandma, Umamusume,
hello,
pretty
Michael.
derby, is an innovative anime series
I'm deaf.
that gallops into the spotlight by transforming Japan's storied horse racing tradition into a tale of spirited, determined athletes with a twist. The show follows these young racers who are committed to their rigorous training on the track as they are to the performing the art of the perfectly timed hair flip, pursuing their limits in every race. Amid the high-stakes competition and relentless drills, the series doesn't take itself too seriously. It playfully winks at the absurdity of it all, reminding us that even heroes can have off days, and their stride is more of a clumsy colt than champion. Really, like at its core, though, Umamusume is about the like perseverance, camaraderie, and the transformative journey of self-improvement, all served with a dash of humor that makes every victory feel like a triumph and a cheeky nod to life's quirks. How do you guys feel about that as a summary for this show?
That was very well put. I think my grandma would still be confused.
Kids and their dumb horse shows.
I hate my grandchild.
So much love in your family, Cole. So much love. But at its core, it's. I feel like it's more horse racing than idle, and I feel like the public perception is that it's more idle than horse racing, which kind of caught me off guard. And we'll get into that a little bit. Like I said, no spoilers really on this one. Not that there would be like really much to spoil about this one in particular. There's a little bit of plot stuff.
Yeah.
But what would you guys recommend, or like what would you compare this one to?
Well, Jay actually shared his recommendation, so why doesn't Jay
I did.
go ahead? Yeah, he shared it with us, I mean.
The first thought that I got while watching this show to recommend is like Zombieland Saga. Just kind of like a group of girls being taken in by this one strange person.
Strange dude.
And
questionable
help them,
dude even.
Yeah, and he helps them succeed in their in their endeavors and trains them.
I like that. I like that take, Jay, because it kind of
one.
has the same like subversion of the idol genre and the sports genre that like Zombieland Saga kind of has, where it's like you get more enjoyment out of it when you like realize it's like subverting the tropes of the genre a little bit.
Similar humor as well in both of them too. I like that pick. I like that one.
Me too.
I'll go next because red goes before green in my mind.
Well, red means stop. So Cole, you should stop and let Mike go.
Yeah, exactly. Cole, my he got you there. That was
I can't even argue. I can't even argue.
He got you. Yeah, unless you're colorblind. I will say that the show that this one reminded me of, and I had a hard time thinking of like a comparable because frankly, there just kind of isn't a super good comparison. I don't think, because it's sports and idol. It's hard to think of one, but the one,
it is a unique show. Yeah,
it is unique for sure. The one I thought of the most is I went an opposite route of Jay. I went more for vibes, and the vibe of this show. The show kind of doesn't really care too much about the details and like getting things like. Doesn't dig into like lore dumps or anything like that, and it's just kind of like just enjoy this fun. And then when I think of that, the show I think of is Skate the Infinity.
Okay,
it's a show about like it's basically at its if you boil it down to like what is the concept, it's basically a show about like cute boys having these fun races downhill, and it's like adrenaline and pumping and like very stylistic and cool characters racing and going fast. And like that's basically what Umamusume is if you think about it.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Replace the cute boys with cute girls, horse girls.
Yeah.
And they go fast.
They go very fast. Like some of them go real fast.
Yeah, like ridiculously fast. Just as an aside too, I like that the sound effect is still them galloping, even though they're sprinting.
I did like that. I like that they wear horseshoes too.
Yeah,
like special shoes with horseshoes on the bottom. That's funny.
Yeah.
Cole, what's your recommendation or comparison?
My recommendation. Listen, there's 3 shows that live in my head at all times. March Comes In Like a Lion, Bocchi the Rock.
Okay.
And the show that I would say this reminded me of was Sound Euphonium. In the sense that it's an ensemble. Of course, Sound Euphonium is much more dramatic than the show is, but it's an ensemble cast. They're competing. Sound Euphonium is more of a team aspect, where this is like an individual races, but they're all working towards this common goal. And it's similar humor when the humor does hit. This is Umamusume is, of course, a comedy, I think, up front with dramatic elements, where Sound Euphonium is a dramatic show with comedic elements, but similar vibes to me.
Okay.
And I really like Sound Euphonium.
Yeah, when Cole starts his thing by saying this show really reminded me of my 3 favorite shows, that's kind of spoilers, isn't it?
Shows.
It kind of goes to show what Cole thinks about the show.
Yeah.
Well, we've compared it to things, and we've kind of told you what the show's about. Now it's time for us to get into our patented AniPro thoughts.
Oh, what about like how quickly you guys finished it?
Oh, dang it, Cole, you're right.
Yeah.
How quickly? Like, when did you guys? Like, how long ago did you guys finish this? What was the start to end time of watching these 13 episodes on Crunchyroll? If you wanted to watch this, if you haven't already.
Jay,
I started this Thursday and I finished it today as of recording.
Today, yeah.
Okay.
Mike,
I think I pretty well actually am on the exact same timeline as Jay. I think I watched 3 episodes Thursday night, and then I watched the rest of it between last night and this morning, and finished at we recorded at noon, and I think I finished at 11:45. So I cutting it close on this one. Cutting it close.
Nice.
Cool.
Mike's that guy this time.
Well, I think Jay was right there with me, but
yeah, like 11:30.
My plan was when a show is this long, it's 13 episodes. I'm gonna watch like 3 episodes a day starting on Sunday, and I'll get to it by Friday. So started at Sunday. I finished it on Tuesday.
I remember you messaged us and you were like, okay, here are my thoughts. And Mike was like, wait, you finished it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sunday. I'm like, no, I'm only half done. And then he hits me with the side eyes. Like, what is going on? Yeah. How are you watching this so fast? And why?
Oh,
why indeed?
We interpret that emoji differently. I put the eyes as like a, like that's interesting is what that means.
Yeah. No, that's what I think too. Yeah. It's like, you're going through this fast. That's interesting.
Like, I see.
Yeah, exactly. That's Jay, I think, nailed it. The eyes mean ice.
So I guess moral of the story is it takes about 3 days to watch this show. Depending on how close you are to a review.
Frankly, quite an easy binge, if you ask me, I thought. The only thing I would say is that it doesn't have a dub, so that'll turn some people off the binge. Because I'm one of these people, and I know people like this, where it's like, it's just sometimes you don't want to read, and that's where dubs come in nice. It's easy to just binge.
And the other thing that I think is worth noting is every season is kind of its own self-contained thing. So like, don't let the episode count daunt you from watching the show. Season 1 is kind of its own thing, and it ends. So like, consider them their own things rather than like, I need to watch 39 episodes.
We did only watch the first 13 though.
We did only watch the
first 13. To be clear, because I
only
only watched the first 13. 14.
I will.
Because maybe I watched the first episode of the second season.
I'm thinking about it too. But like the interesting thing, like Jay has kind of alluded to, is that like each season has a different protagonist, but it wouldn't be correct to say that it's each season self-contained. Like it still takes place in the world. Like you'll still see Special Week in season 2 and stuff like that. But it is its own story within the same world with the same, like the characters are all still there. But that kind of leads into, I guess, our first point, which is what were your guys' like, and so the elephant, or so the horse in the room is that like
where?
Oh,
you mean metaphorically? Oh, sorry.
This show is often like looked at as like, oh, that's that weird horse girl show that Japanese people love. It's not very popular here in America, right? And that's part of why I picked it, and then part of it's also because that Cinderella Grey is coming out in the upcoming season, and I figured it'd be interesting to talk about it now. What were your guys' like initial thoughts coming in on Umamusume versus, and like what actually unfolded before your eyes?
Yeah,
compared to
I thought this was an idol show, and I was pleasantly surprised that the idol aspect of this show is present, but not very upfront.
Yeah.
I knew that like it had running in it. And like I feel like my perception kind of changed because I read the Cinderella Grey manga before watching this.
Kind of a crazy move, but yes.
Well, because so I looked into it because we were doing our seasonal preview. And I was like, okay, do you need to check out Pretty Derby before checking out Cinderella Grey? And all the comments I got were like, no, it's pretty, like it's a spin-off. The only real thing is in Cinderella Grey, the like the world's the same, so you get like more world building stuff.
Yeah, I saw I think Cinderella Grey referencing some stuff from seasons 2 and 3 specifically, but I because I did the same kind of look into. I didn't read it though.
Even if like from what I've heard, even if it does, like you can't really even tell. Like it doesn't it doesn't make you feel like it doesn't make you feel lost for not having done it. It's pretty accessible no matter how much of Umamusume you've seen. But to get to my point, that is a lot more like it takes itself a lot more seriously as like a sports track thing. So like it kind of set my expectation a lot higher for like what, like how seriously it would take itself as a sports thing. So like when I got to like, oh, they do singing and dancing, I was like, what? Because it's not even in, or like very, very like sparsely. If this is sparsely included in Pretty Derby, it's on like a whole other level in Cinderella Grey.
To be super honest with you, it feels like they really only addressed the singing like 2 times really throughout like in this first season here.
Yeah.
And it really to me felt like the thing when you watch like an anime adaptation of a game and they put in like the thing that's like a reference to like I'm guessing in the game the singing is a more of a thing.
I think that is the case. Yeah. I think it's a rhythm game like Guitar Hero or Love Live or whatever. But
so they were like, we have to put it in.
Yeah.
But this is first and foremost a horse racing show. Yeah.
But like even then, like when I saw that there were idols and that, I was like, what?
Yeah. I came into this as a similar point as Cole, where I was like, I thought this was first and foremost an idol show with like sports undertones. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was a sports show with idol undertones.
Yeah. Also, like, man, if you want to get like deep in the weeds about this show, all of the horses are based on real horses.
There's like lore that's not in the show that you can kind of like connect dots on. Like, maybe one horse had like a famous injury.
Yeah.
And then it's like almost spoilers for the show when you see that. It's like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's like digging into it, I'm like, oh, Special Week. Interesting name for a main character. You know, like, okay, but horses always have weird names. And then you look it up and it's like, oh, that was a real horse. That was a real horse that lived and did racing. And they're all real horses that lived and raced and did stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So while the show lacks like any actual world building, because it just kind of throws you in and says, "This is it."
I'd say it has a little bit in like the fact that like they do the concerts after they win and like the
but I mean like there's lore, I should say.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of like, there's horse girls and here we go.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it kind of does like a bit of a, in quotes, lore dump at the beginning, but that is basically just to say there's horse girls and boy, they sure do love running.
At the same time, like, did it
and eating
need
carrots.
like a big
No,
lore
it didn't.
dump?
I love it.
No,
I love it for that.
I agree.
I appreciate that because it allows me, if I want to dig into like who these real horses were, I can. So Special Week was an actual horse that wore purple. He wore purple like Special Week does in the show, and he has a little like white patch on his forehead too, like Special Week does in the show. I
noticed that too. It's like I'd look up the horse for a couple of the characters, and like they clearly like designed the characters to like have the same colors as the horse and like kind of look like them a little bit. I was like, oh, that's like a nice little touch.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Cole. I think that like by the nature of like not really explaining things, but like kind of letting you know like, hey, by the way, these are real horses kind of thing. Yeah. You can kind of sort of like fill in the gaps on your own if you want to, or you can just watch this show and just have fun watching basically horse races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I appreciated that. And it, like the question that is posed to me on this document is, do the actual racehorses add depth to the show? Not necessarily to the show itself, but it's there if you want to add depth yourself to the background of it. And I love shows like that.
Me
where if I want to go look, I can.
It's there.
And if I don't want to, I don't need to either. You know?
Yeah. It's like DLC for a show, basically.
Yeah.
It's like cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something about it in my specific brain chemistry that just works for me.
I feel like I could picture you being into like old racehorses. I don't know. That just feels like a cool thing to be into.
I don't know, man. I'm such an enigma.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm into.
Of your mind are an enigma.
Truly, even to me.
We did allude to that, like, there's not much world building, quote unquote, done on this show. But like, what do you guys think of the world that was built so far? And I'd say it's like a lot of it is kind of in the Japanese way of like, we're just going to imply a lot of things. Like, are there horses in this world? I don't think so. I think the girls are the horses.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's funny that like all of the infrastructure they have in place at the horse track are for horses. Like the gates they run out of are like, those are designed that way to hold a horse in there. Not just like
horse girls.
Not just a girl.
Yeah. I had a good chuckle at one point when they'd show like them getting into the corral that the horse goes into, and then the door closes behind them. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they'd need that for an actual horse, but like you're just locking these little girls in a cage and in this context.
They could have just had a starting line. Like that's how humans race, because we have like the ability to not just go running off. But
it'd be a lesser show if it had.
I'm glad that they did. Yeah. I'm glad that they did. It's I also like because in another show all people would be like some kind of animal human hybrid.
Yeah.
But in this, no, there's just it's our world, normal people, but there's also horse girls.
Yeah.
It works. I watched this show and I was like, I get it.
I know, it's so weird. It's so weird. And then like the other thing is I've read that, like, I guess if you go further into it or in the manga, I think they sort of explain that this world is sort of like an isekai where like famous race horses get reincarnated as horse girls, I think is like the quote unquote canonical reason. But none of that matters, honestly. Because like if you matter. It's just a fun show about racing, really.
If you want it to matter, it's there. But you don't need it. You don't need it.
I kind of hate that they explain that. Like,
don't tell me.
I think that this sets a solid foundation for like what for a concept, and then like the rest is just like how's the
Head
story
canon
on top of it.
Yeah. And it's fertile ground for theories.
Which I think is like kind of a cool segue into our next point a little bit of like, as we kind of talked about, like each season of this show delves into has different protagonists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jay put it interestingly at saying that like it sets the foundation quite well. And like all these characters are here, like in the Cinderella Grey that's coming out that Jay was talking about. Cinderella Grey is in season 1. Like the what's her name?
Ogre Cap is there, but she's like a background character. Like
exactly.
Background
but
character. She's a gag character in this.
Yeah.
She just likes eating.
Yeah. But she exists
also
in the
likes
show,
eating
right?
In Cinderella Grey, like that's the kind of thing. But
Jay, we're talking about this show, not Cinderella Grey. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Jay said the word foundations, and what I thought of is like everything's here in season 1, and then it just basically each season kind of decides to focus on a different area of it. Do you guys feel like in the first season it took this large ensemble cast and balanced it well, or do you feel like do you think the decision to focus on just Special Week and Silence Suzuka was kind of the right move, or do you feel like it should have been more diverse, or should it be more focused? Like I want to know what you think of that.
I think this was well balanced. Like, of course, the main character is Special Week, and her rivalry with Silence Suzuka.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like every girl kind of has a chance to shine. You know, you kind of get. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think it gave like enough, even though like yes, Special Week and Suzuka were the two main focuses of the show. It gave enough to the background characters that like you can realistically pick any girl as like, oh, that's my favorite, or like whatever, and that's just the mark of like a good. And I know you guys don't think it's an idol show, but like it still does market itself as an idol show.
Oh,
no, it for sure
is.
It
just
sure
doesn't
is.
have those like idol aspects. Yeah, I mean, like even the or not background characters, but like the supporting characters. You know, like El Condor Pasa. You know, like there's a whole thing about her. You're concerned about what she's doing. Grass Wonder, who is injured at the beginning, and she kind of has like a resurgence towards the end of the show. Yeah, like I think it does a good job. Of course, you're interested in Special Week and her doing well mainly.
Well, like
because
it's her story first and foremost, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, it gives you other horse girls to cheer for at the same time too.
Yeah. And I think that I do think that they balance it well. I did find like sometimes because there's so many characters, it sort of suffered a little bit from just like, okay, which one's this again? And then you kind of had to like think for a second, or like, I did find that a little bit just because of the nature of having so many characters.
Yeah. And I get that.
I think probably by having so many characters and having so many, like, it had like A through Z plots in this show basically. And by having that much going on, if it tried to also lore dump, like we were talking about in the last point here, where like if it tried to explain the world and like where the horses are and stuff like that, I think it would just be too many things going on. And just let's just focus on the characters and their stories. That's the point of the show. I think that was a good way to handle it.
Yeah, I think like the first 5 minutes of the show kind of does enough to make you understand like what the world is, and just kind of get you like into the world. And then it just goes, okay, here are the characters, this is the story. And I think that's fine.
Because you frankly don't need to know a lot to enjoy the show. Like even
No.
Shazana was sitting on the couch with me watching a couple episodes, and like it's pretty clear, like they're just girls who are trying to be very good at a sport,
girls.
basically. Yeah. And they're
they
horses.
just really like running.
Yeah.
And
They really like running
there's
fast.
lots of like horse specific design choices that I really enjoyed. Like we talked about it a little bit with like the gates and stuff.
Yeah.
But I loved it. Like they had like these special outfits that they race in, where they like have their little hats and stuff like that. Or they like it like looks like horse gear, you know, like, or their shoes have little horseshoes on the bottom and stuff, or they're eating carrots. Was there any of that stuff that you guys really enjoyed?
Jay?
Or didn't enjoy?
So first of all, the thing I appreciate about that is like they weren't obnoxious about it. Like, oh, get it? They're horses. Right? Like it was just kind of like there and not super in your face. I love the phone. Like they have that like big phone that like goes up to the ear, and like in a lot of other anime where there's an animal girl or an animal character, they'll have it like up to where a human ear would be, but they still have like the ears on top of their head, and it's like, well, do they have two sets of ears?
Yeah,
But they actually.
This is well established. They have only their horse ears. And they have special phones that are really long that go up to their ear. There's one scene where Special Week is using a regular phone, and she has to like hold it up to her ear and then bring it back down to talk. Yeah, like it's little things like that where like, yeah, they didn't care about like lore or anything like that, but they clearly care about stuff like that. Like
The
it's
consistency of it all.
The stuff
It's
that
a
actually
funny-
kind of makes sense, I guess.
A,
is what I-
it's a funny gag, and
Yeah.
B, like it makes sense that of
Mhm.
course these girls who don't have normal ears, they have horse ears on the top
Yeah.
of their head, would need to like
Well,
either
like,
have
it
equipment
just-
that's adapted to them,
Yeah,
or
it-
they need to use human equipment
It
differently.
just adds to the world building because it makes it all
Yeah.
consistent.
Mhm.
As I was watching the show, I kept thinking and seeing all these little things, and it just kept every time I saw something like that, it would just make me think, show don't tell, show don't
Yep.
tell.
Yes.
You know, lesser anime, they would have had what's her name, Special Week, come to the academy and be like, oh, you guys have the special phone that I need because I have horse ears on the top of my head. Whereas this one,
Yes.
just like, she just picks up the phone and it's bigger than usual, and the average person might not notice, but it just like kind of makes sense. It's these nice little
Mhm.
details.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, for
Or
sure.
I did get a good laugh out of the gag because, you know, the classic anime gag where you're late for class and you grab a slice of toast and you run out the door.
Yes.
And in this one, she runs out the door with a carrot in her mouth. And I'm just
With a
like, oh, it's
carrot
just
in her mouth, and all of
funny
their
little
meals,
nod.
all
Yeah.
of their meals are always carrots. Always
There's
like
always
a whole carrot on a plate with like a sauce. Or
There was
special,
a gag that like she took a ton of rice though, so like there was that.
'Cause they are
special week
horse
goes
girls.
yes. Special
Yeah.
week goes home and has a carrot Salisbury steak, which was just a Salisbury steak with a carrot stuck in it.
like
Like, just a
like
carrot
literally
in
like
it.
impaled into it. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny. Yeah.
Like I could
which-
make that.
Which horse is the best horse and why?
Oh, finally the question everybody's been
Yeah.
waiting
So,
for.
I mean, for an idol show, right? Like you have the whole
gotta
point is
have
you're
a
picking your favorite.
That is the
and-
point.
And,
Yeah.
and your
Yes.
which is funny because that's what you do in horse races. You pick your
Yep.
horse and you
Yep.
just follow them.
Mm-hmm.
It works. It just
works.
works.
It just
There was a
works.
race. There's a race at the end of the show that my girl was running in, and I was like, I know she's not going to win, but I'm still going for her. And that girl is Gold Ship. Gold Ship's the best.
Mm.
She's so funny.
That's the one with the Rubik's Cube, right?
Yeah, she's always got
Yeah.
a Rubik's cube,
She's
or
the
she's
merry
constantly
prankster.
she's constantly poking herself in the eyes.
Yeah.
She's just I don't know. She's also got like this like teasing older sister vibe to her too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's fun. I really enjoyed her and her antics. She was the most character stuffed into a waifu out of all of these other girls. Like, you know, Special Week is just kind of like, I'm a good girl, and it's like, yeah, you are a good girl.
Mm-hmm.
Gold Ship is just like bursting with different things. Yeah,
Mhm.
I really enjoyed every second she was on screen. I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Jay.
Who did Jay enjoy?
I think my favorite character, aside from Ogre Cap, because she's amazing.
That's cheating. You know too much about her.
But I know too much about Ogre, so I can't pick her.
Yeah.
I would go with Silent Suzuka. I just I liked her little character arc there of like her coming back from what
Something.
she had to go through.
Yeah.
And like the
Yeah.
little dramatic beats that came from that with Special Week.
Mhm.
I liked all that, and I think that
Yeah.
was kind of the big dramatic crux of the show.
Yeah, I will say in Jay's defense with Ogre Cap, I do like her character even in this because she's just a glutton. She just
Yeah,
Yes.
is
yeah.
eating so much all the time, yet still like clearly being like one of the school's best racers. And it's always in
Yeah.
the background. Like she'll be in the
Yeah.
background eating this ridiculous amount of food.
yeah.
Or she's in like a donut eating contest and she's just constantly thinking
wins.
like, oh, these are
She's
really
the one
good.
that like had the extra donuts put on her plate, and she still won. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
She's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
and she gives the plushie to the other girl. She's just
Yeah.
like, I just
Yeah.
wanted to eat donuts.
Yeah.
She is
No,
is funny.
Ogre's the best.
Yeah.
Well,
but also
is
she's
she the?
much
she the best?
better in Cinderella Grey. But like
Yeah.
this
I will
isn't
check it
Cinderella
out.
Grey, so I can't.
I will say if I had watched this before we did our seasonal draft, I'm sure one of us would have drafted Cinderella Grey. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm sure that would have came.
I
off.
literally started reading Cinderella Grey right after we did our draft, and I was
Yeah.
kicking myself that I didn't
Damn
do it.
Damn it. I will say, you guys gave your favorites, so I'll give mine quick. El Condor Pasa to me was
She was
great.
fun.
She was
Yeah.
awesome. Because the one thing I really enjoyed about this show is like it had its dramatic moments, but at the end of the day, all these like girls are so supportive of each other and still like like it's a sport, but they kind of get like, no, we're still like, I'm still friends with you, even though I'm like competing to beat you. We're rivals. We're not enemies, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like she just had like such a good energy to her. Like she's super strong, super fast. She's super good as like a horse racer, but like she's still super supportive of like her.
I really like the gag at the end where Special Week asks her for
Yes.
here's to a good race in French.
yeah.
And she gives her like don't get cocky, so she goes around telling everyone don't get cocky.
Yeah. And then even the people who spoke English to her understood, and they responded with what?
What? Yeah. Because she basically, she's like, can you give me something cool to say to this French horse that I'm racing? And then, her El Condor Pasa is like, I'm going to mess with you, kid.
I got this.
El Condor Pasa too, Mike you would pick her because she's the one with a mask and very, very distinct character design to her.
Yeah, probably the most distinct character design other than that French horse I get, whose name I cannot pronounce.
Broye.
It's kind of funny that none of us picked Special Week, which normally
Special Week is like vanilla ice cream. Very
that's
good
kind of what I
girl.
was getting to.
Yeah.
Like she was kind of a little bit bland compared to the other girls. But like normally when we do these, like who was your favorite character, we'll kind of be like, okay, let's try not to pick the main character.
Yeah, no, and it was easy for me. I enjoyed cheering for Special Week, but she was kind of just
you knew where she was going.
Toast.
You kind of knew what was going to happen with her, I felt. But like I still enjoyed her too. But that's a good point, Jay. Like the supporting cast was like so interesting. And probably my favorite character in the series actually has no name. His name only is Trainer.
Trainer was good.
He's
Trainer's a good boy.
the stand-in, right? He's supposed to be us playing the game. And Trainer's good. Trainer's good. He's a little bit of he's introduced as like a pervert, you know, the classic.
Because he goes
pervert.
in like touching their thighs.
Yeah, but he's just like a horse.
He's a horse trainer, so he's like, "Oh yeah, you got good legs." He's like, "No, like these are horses," but of course they're also girls, so he's a pervert.
And then I like how they buck kick him, like every time
he gets kicked really hard, which is
great,
deserving. I also like that they all like beat him up all the time. Yeah. Gold Ship will like throw him in a headlock or something like that. It's great. I love the dynamics between all the characters. Listen,
that's a strong point for sure.
We said what were our initial expectations and were they expected? Yes, and far more.
Like in a weird way.
I really like this.
The funny thing is like the show itself is like. I actually, before I move on to the next point, last thing, Jay, you have a question you must ask.
Oh yeah. I also like that Special Week's name is her nickname is Spe, and it reminded me of a thing that Cole always brings up on the podcast from Foss from Land of the Lustrous. Foss going Gue, all the time. So I just need to know, boys, Spe or Gue?
Gue, always Gue. Spe is fine. She was a very, very fine lead, but Gue, oh man, every time that Seiyu is in a show, I get hyped. She's up there with Kana Hanazawa for me. Yeah.
Mike, Spe or Gue?
I'm gonna go Spe, because just like I don't have the same affinity for the Gue as Cole does. Yeah.
Jay, you've asked the question, but you haven't answered it.
I mean, both like Spe makes me laugh more because it reminds me of Cole laughing at Gue. So like I feel like Spe got more of a reaction out of me, but that's also because of Gue. So without Gue, there would be no.
There is
Spe.
no Spe. Okay,
huge news though here. Huge news. There's a spin-off manga, Umamusume, Peace, Soupy, Golshi-chan, which is specifically about Gold Ship. So
he's reading it.
I mean,
that's my next read.
It really looks like there's basically a spin-off manga for all the characters.
When
you look at the
that's
relations,
the point,
there's a
right?
lot.
Like,
you pick your track, and then
you pick your girl, and you just go.
Yeah, for sure.
Next
Truly
point is visuals, soundtrack of this show, like kind of just the overall production of it. What works, what doesn't. What stood out and what didn't, or what stood out for bad reasons?
Yeah, I think everything works really well. Like it's a very well animated show. What I would say that maybe the running animations are a little bit lazy, you know, like it's just a running loop of them going.
Yeah, it also looks a little choppy at times, like when they're running like super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, this is obvious. Like it's very clear that this was something that came off the ground floor, and it wasn't as popular as future seasons
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
So they
that's
didn't
my
have the
take, too.
budget to be able to do what they're doing with your season 2s, or even like or like Cinderella Grey, which looks fantastic.
Gorgeous. Let me tell you, because I have watched the first episode of season 2, and there is a show scene that looks just like night and day compared to this. I'm glad that they didn't do a bunch of idle stuff in season 1, because I think it would have, like, production wise, it wouldn't have looked quite as nice. Where like the race, you can kind of look past the slight jank, because like you're just invested in the race itself, right?
Yeah.
Which
it kind of makes sense to me, because like they basically, like PA Works did the first season of this, and then the studio that did the second and subsequent seasons is Studio Kai, I believe. And it kind of seems like they were basically founded to do Umamusume, is sort of the vibe I'm getting, because like it was their first thing they did. They basically like were like, okay, we need you to do season 2, and then like things seem to just kind of go up and up. And I think, Jay, I think you nailed it. I felt as I was watching, I was kind of like, this feels good, but like it definitely feels like they didn't think this would be as big as it is.
Yeah, the show lives off of its charm, not off its animation. I would say,
at least for season 1.
Yeah. Not bad. Like I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just not not
like
special.
Stellar? Yeah,
not special. I would
week.
say.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, it's solid is the word I use.
Yeah. And the thing that kind of stood out to me the most, actually, from a production standpoint, is I thought the music was really well done in this show. And I'm not talking about the idol performances. I'm talking about like when they were racing. I thought that the soundtrack of the races was so good. It was so good at getting you like energized and hyped up and feeling the tension of the moment a lot of the time. I just wanted to quickly call that out.
Yeah. Of course, this is an AniPro review. OPED. OP, yay or nay? Yeah, kind of meh. Yeah.
Very typical idol show. The ED has some cool moments to it, but like
I like the ED more. It had more of a vision. It had more of a vision to it, and it was a bit more fun. I did like the I give it like a 7, where the OP was like a 5.5. Just kind of fine.
Eminently skippable to me, I'd say. I did enjoy that they forgot they just had the song playing, and then they do like a slideshow that kind of like was like a nice little nightcap on the episode sometimes for this. I did enjoy that.
I liked phrases like "grow up, shine." That was good in the ED.
Yes,
it's just funny to me. Yeah,
that is funny.
Just one last thing on music. I liked the choice and use of music. Like there was one part near the end where like the music just like cut out because it was like a very intense moment, and I think that it was very good use of just like cutting out music for dramatic
good
effect.
direction.
Well directed.
I would say.
Yeah,
well directed. And especially because like that scene, the way that they did it with the specific part you're talking about, I was like, oh no, this is where it all goes wrong. And that was kind of like what it was setting you up for. And I thought that was like a very clever trick to use.
Yeah, it kind of felt like this is the turning point. Like this is the decisive moment. It could either go really wrong or really right.
Yeah. And it, like I said, it builds tension, right?
Builds tension, and it gives you something to celebrate, because this has happened in a previous. So it happened earlier in the show, and it went one way, and now you're happy that it's going the other way.
That it went the other way. Yeah. I mean, it's a very simple trick, but like it works.
It works.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of simple tricks, this show kind of goes back and forth between humor and drama, and like there's lots of different tones in this show, I would say. Do you guys think that they're like it balances those different tones and the shifts between them well?
I would say it handles the lighthearted aspects of it really well. It's very good at being comedic and just kind of lighthearted, slice of lifey.
A little bit more idly than dramatic.
yeah, it can get a bit melodramatic, I think. Like there's a point halfway through the show where Spe kind of lets her foot off the gas a little bit because of something that's happening in the show or in the plot. And it's a little melodramatic, you know, everybody's like, oh, you gotta train more and stuff like that. And it's like, it worked. Like it didn't derail me at all, but
I would agree that part was less interesting, I would say. Where she's just
interesting, but just kind of melodramatic. Like it just felt like, oh, there's drama here for drama's sake, kind of.
The thing for me is like I feel like Spe wasn't like complex enough of a character for the drama to work as well as it could have.
That's kind of a good take.
Maybe it was a character issue.
She is a little surface level, so like when she got those feelings, it's like a little bit not earned. But
I kind of agree with you.
That makes sense. Yeah, I agree
like,
with that.
She kind of was a very simple character, and then when she kind of, even like her melodrama seemed a little too simple for, like it just, you didn't really buy in that much to it. Yeah. Even though like it all seemed very believable, you didn't really buy into it. I felt
it was interesting. But yeah, I think you nailed I think you hit the nail on the head. Like it was interesting, but it didn't get to where it probably could have if Spe was a more complex character.
Kind of didn't resonate. But like I do agree with Cole that like I think there was a good amount of humor and drama and like drama from both like a interpersonal drama as well as like drama from a sports perspective in this. And I think it kind of threaded the needle quite well for most of that.
I liked the small dramas, like the dynamics during a race and stuff like that. I think it handled that well. It was just kind of the macro drama. You know, it felt very like, oh, now's the time where this happens. We've got to kind of set everybody off the rails a little bit. And
it sort of goes exactly where you expect, I would say, for most of it.
It doesn't really surprise you, this show, I'd say.
Did you guys feel that the racing and idle elements worked well together, and are they both necessary for this show? Because we talked about like the difference in like contrast of the like the tone. So now we have the tone of being an idol and singing, and also being a horse girl and racing. Do you guys think that those two things meshed quite well?
I think the show meshes it as well as it can. And by that, I mean, the racing in it is great. I really like the racing, and the idol aspect of it is just, it's over there. It's off screen. Like I swear it's right there. It's right there. You can't see it, but it's there.
Like, on a realistic like storytelling perspective, if you got rid of the idol stuff, like the show wouldn't be any different whatsoever.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if after like Usain Bolt won the gold medal at the Olympics, he had to go
just started like dancing on stage?
Yeah. And now for a little song.
But it's so funny. Like in IRL, that would be ridiculous. But in this, it's just a part of it. It's just something everybody's like, and now time for a show, everyone. Let's watch this person who is really good at running. So they must be good at being an idol too, I guess. Like
it's weird.
They kind of poke fun at that though too, right?
I like that.
Like the show also treats it like an afterthought, because like they train Special Week for the running aspect, but like she doesn't get any idol training, and like it's a big thing that like she's good at running, but she can't sing and dance.
And that's big controversy behind that. No, the idol thing, I said this to Jay yesterday. It's like Chekhov's gun, but if Chekhov's gun was just left on the mantle, you know,
just left
it on the mantle. That's going to be a thing later, right?
Yeah.
Then the writers, they're like,
that's a nice gun.
Well, this nice gun you got there.
I'd push back on that just a touch, Cole. I do think like at the beginning they do give like the context of like only the person who wins gets to sing and dance, right? And they kind of use that as like the celebration when inevitably people do win, and I think you could justify it as like she doesn't get to sing until she's truly achieved her goal.
I guess what it is like after a horse wins the race, you know, everybody's showering it with its flowers, and it gets its like wreath put on its neck in real life. But like it's showing off the horse. I get that. But like the horse is just there being a horse.
Yeah.
It's
And-
not
Well, like,
performing.
It's that, but it's also execs going, okay, we need to integrate the game part into this. somehow.
Bingo.
How do we
And
do that?
Bingo.
Again, I give it the biggest pass because it knows it's ridiculous and it's not going to apologize for it.
Nope.
It's just
Like
it's part
I
of
said,
it.
Yeah,
It
like
is
I
what
said
it
with
is.
Cinderella Grey, like when I saw that there was singing and dancing and like idol stuff in Pretty Derby, I was like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, here it is. Oh, you're confused? Too bad.
Oh well. Yeah. Enjoy this song.
What did you
Yeah,
expect
here's
from an
Wonderwall.
idol show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess we're speaking on idol stuff again. That's kind of, I think we've
Mhm.
determined that's like one of the big things that make this less accessible in the West.
Mhm.
Do you guys, what do you guys think? Like, why else is it so popular in Japan? Like, what's the secret sauce behind this one for Japan, for
It's-
Japanese viewers?
I don't know, but when I watched it, I got it. You know, I said this already. Like
Yeah.
honestly, the first scene in the show is Special Week on the train being just a classic anime girl
Mhm.
trope. And I was like, oh, I get it. These are cute
Yeah.
girls.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like a country bumpkin, fish out of water. So like
Mhm.
everybody can kind of relate with that a little bit. And yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just a perfect amalgamation of everything that Japanese people like. They like horse racing, they like cute anime girls, and they like idols. And
I want to
here we
say,
go.
I want to say gotcha gaming too, but like
Mhm.
I looked it up and the gotcha game didn't come out till like 3 years after this aired. So like I can't even use that as a crutch, but like I know the gotcha game is huge there and it's coming out worldwide, I think, this year
Mhm.
too. So
And I think I would also say like the figure potential. I was talking about
Yeah.
things being toyetic.
for sure.
Mhm.
And that is very omnipresent here. Like
Yeah.
all the girls have multiple different outfits. So like buy all the figures of the girl you like, or other girls because you probably like more than one.
Yeah, they all got their colors. They all
They all
got
got their
their
colors and their things, and like I was looking on the wiki and they all have their songs, so download their songs and listen
Yeah.
to their songs.
That stuff is very Japanese in nature, I find.
Yeah.
Mhm.
More so than over here.
yeah.
yeah.
Which is like kind of probably one of the reasons it's kind of overlooked in the West, I'd say, is like we kind of touched on it a little bit, saying like
Mhm.
I think like in my head I'm running through the process of like, okay, do I buy a Special Week figure
Mhm.
or like
Mhm.
what's her name, Condor figure? And I'm
Yeah.
like, that'd be kind of sweet to have a Condor figure behind me right now. And then my brain also goes like, how do I explain to my mom this horse girl anime figure when she comes over and looks at my figure
Yeah.
collection?
Yeah.
You know, like
Mhm.
It's got a reputation for sure.
Yeah.
Like even
I-
between the three of us, right?
Yeah.
Before going in, we were like, oh, okay, it's just another idol show with the aspect of them being like horse girls, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll pass on it.
Yeah.
Give it a chance though, because I think I think it's onto something, gentlemen.
especially like I wouldn't recommend it as like, don't recommend this to like your colleague as like a, hey, I'm looking
Yeah.
to get into anime. What should I watch?
Yeah. No.
This is like your 300th anime. This is not
yeah,
your-
this is like I like idol anime. What's a different idol anime that's that stands out from the pack?
Mhm.
yeah.
That's
I want to watch something
absolutely-
different from like a Demon
Yeah.
Slayer. What's that? What do you
Yeah,
recommend?
I want to watch something zany. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, there you go. This is
I-
Oh,
this is
I got
zany.
the thing.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think there's also you kind of touched on it, Mike. But like I think the fact that not everything is accessible here kind of has a part to play in why this isn't as popular
Mhm.
here. Because like in Japan, it's all there. They can
Mhm.
they can access every aspect of this property.
And it
was
seems
kind
to
of
be like
inundated.
heavily advertised there too,
Yes.
from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Walking into 7-Eleven when I was there, Umamusume.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this horse?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you came out
I'm into it.
you went there in 2021, right?
Yeah.
So that's when the app came out. So that actually like lines up. That makes sense. Because
Yeah,
that would probably
yeah.
be like the peak of its popularity, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Jay said, I think it's just not super accessible in the West, both for the reasons we kind of talked about, and like not having a dub, not really advertised at all. Nobody
Mhm.
really kind of gets the concept, and we're just naturally not as into idol anime too. I
Yeah.
think those all just like, it just all lines up to be like not a hit here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
hopefully it gets adopted and stuff, because I feel like people would like it if they gave it a
I
shot.
think people would like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fun.
It has its sauce.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's saucy.
As I'll put it.
Yeah. But I want to hear about Cole's sauce. Cole, let's get into the final thoughts and ratings of this show. Tell me all your saucy little juicy secrets about Umamusume Pretty Derby.
You threw it to me first last time too. And
Oh,
you know
crap.
what?
Okay.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to change from you.
No, okay. Well,
I was going to apologize.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to fix things. I was just going to say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do my reveals a little bit differently than you guys do, I think. I like to open it up by saying my rating is this tickled my jimmies.
Okay.
And the reason for that is this took me where I didn't know I wanted to go. You know, I sat down on my couch thinking, okay, here we go. You know, I'm going to watch 3 episodes a night for the next 6 days or whatever. No, that's not what happened. I binged it as much as I could. There was honestly, like, Monday morning, I woke up and I watched 2 episodes. I woke up, still sleep in my eyes, and I'm like, I need more of my horse girls right now. And I got it. And the humor was well done. The show just doesn't care. The show's got this laissez-faire attitude to it that you don't see very much. Like, it's just, here it is. Here's what we are. This is a show about horse girls who are also kind of idols. And you're like, excuse me, I've watched shows for a long time. I need a lore dump to understand where these horse girls came from. And it just says, no, you don't. Here you go. And by the end, you're like, you were right. I didn't need that. I didn't need to know where horse girls were. I had questions at the start. I still have questions in the back of my head, like, do horses also exist here? But in the end, it doesn't matter because I enjoyed this. I enjoyed going for a ride. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the animation for what it was. The direction of it made up for maybe some of its lacking animation during racing scenes and stuff like that. And yeah, it tickled my jimmies thoroughly. I want to watch more. I want to get into this. Yeah, Jay.
This is a very interesting show to talk about because, like, I feel like you can go either way. This kind of feels like a show where, like, a little bit, you'd know if you'd like it based on what we said. And others, they like, if you don't like it, you'll know. It sets up a good foundation for what this property is going, or like could be. But I think it misses the mark on a couple of areas, but it was still enjoyable as a whole. That said, there are other spin-offs and seasons that I think kind of take the ball that this started and rolls with it even more. So like to start with this is a very, very good starting point, and then to kind of get your toes wet, and yeah, you'll know if you vibe with this show or not. The girls are very, very likable with a very wide variety of personalities and designs that I think, like, you'll probably, if this is your thing, you'll find a girl that you like, and have a good time with that. And yeah, I think it's a solid show. Maybe not like the best show of all time, but definitely a lot of fun. So I would say consider it. And I think it's worth considering because it's different than your typical singing idol show.
Okay. Well, you two have really said it all.
Throat.
I get to I get to go last, which is always nice. I know why Cole likes it so much now because you guys
nice.
really did say lots of thoughts that I really agree with both of you on this one. And I think that the stigma that this show puts out keeps people away from it. And I'd say you should consider watching it if you just break through that stigma a little bit. If you like sports in general, if you like the heart pulsing adrenaline of a close race, you're going to enjoy this show, I think. And I know I did. I thought the cast of characters being diverse tickled my gotcha brain a little bit of like, there's all these cool characters you want to know more about. It gives you enough to get that you get a good sense of each of them, but also like leaves you wanting more. You want to know more about your favorite characters. I think that the idol stuff I could have passed on and frankly, it did feel like an afterthought a lot of times. And would I say this is a flawless show? Absolutely not in any way. But I think it's a hell of a lot of fun. And like Cole said, I did appreciate that it had this attitude of like, listen, everyone's overthinking everything these days. Just watch these damn horse girls run really fast and be good friends to each other and have a good time. And I feel like I just love that energy. So I'm going to say this tickled my jimmies because like I just think it's like to me, it's just that's the perfect like encapsulation of what this show is. It's just all it cares about is tickling your jimmies. It doesn't care about being certified. It doesn't care about anything else. It's just like, listen, I'm going to tickle your jimmies. You're going to have a good time with this.
Yeah.
And like, if it's not, if some of the stuff doesn't land for you, I think there's still enough there that even someone who is not as into this show, they're still going to give it, they're still going to have a decent time with it, I'd say. Because there's enough good here for the average person.
Yeah. And I'm ready to order my, figure.
Your figure.
No,
yeah. You're looking up prices.
I'm ready to order my, gold ship figure. And then I'll get like a golden ship in the mail and be like, what is
so
this?
when are we doing Azure Lane?
Oh God.
Well, I don't know. I will tell you though that our next anime review will be Kids on the Slope. So we go from horse racing to jazz. That's jazz, baby. Also, our listener's choice is now open.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
It should be. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Beyond the Boundary, Log Horizon, and Aria the Animation. You may go vote. Now, go vote. We've also got manga review coming up. Mono is our next manga review, followed quickly by a show that I can't pronounce, or a manga I can't pronounce, but Jay can.
Gachiakuta.
Thank you. And The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity is after that one that Jay just said. So look forward to those.
Two of these three manga are having an anime arrogant summer. What is up with summer, by the way? This summer is so stacked.
I don't know. This coming up season's pretty good too. We're getting good anime lately, guys. We really are.
We are good.
We are eating good. But thank you so much for listening to another episode of AniPro. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend about us. If you really like us, why don't you consider supporting us like these lovely people on Patreon? Mr. Family Guy 36, Elijah Wood, Braindead B-Dog, Peach, Frama, Kratos, Just Juzz, Mog, Uncle of Light. By supporting us on Patreon, you get access to all sorts of perks, and it really helps out the show. We're also on social media at AniProPod, and please join our Discord community to keep up with us and other listeners. Links to everything is in the description or at our website, AniProPod.com. Jalian, you look dashing in your robe today. Why don't you take us out and lead us in a round of bye-byes?
All right. Well, this is it. We've reached the end.
My friend.
My friend, so long. Farewell. And as we say at the end of every AniPro episode, bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.